watch me now. Watch me now. Here I go.
Welcome back to Big Business Energy. This week, my guest is a fellow videographer and business owner. Welcome, Sam.
Thank you.
It's
Glad to be here.
Yeah, thank you so
much.
much.
Good to be here for the first time. It's awesome.
Yes, definitely did not redo this podcast at all.
Totally not. Go on.
Exactly. But honestly, thank you so much for coming. Honestly, for people who don't know Sam and I guess your business, you just want to tell people a little bit about it. And I was going to pronounce the name, but I always fuck it up. So I'm just going to leave it to you.
That's okay. So my production company is called La Cosa Studios. How do people pronounce it? They pronounce like La Cosa.
Yeah.
It's La Cosa.
Yeah.
Is that like I say it? So yeah, we're a Brisbane-based production company. We specialize in video and photo-based content for businesses to use across social media. I was recently called, the brand was recently called Samuel Connor Lawn Filmmaker. And I changed it in December because I just thought, it's like if I want to expand, I want to have employees or something underneath me.
Yeah.
Or if I did actually want to open up like a studio like you have here, at least I can have it with an actual name in place. I feel a little bit weird if people worked for me and it was under Samuel Connor Lawn Film, like it just wouldn't really flow well. So yeah.
I was the exact same thought process, and that's why we did start Shareworthy and everything as well. So. Which I was
just going to say, like on the last podcast, I've already said this, but like the name Shareworthy, I love it. It's like, it actually is so good because again, like I feel like everyone creates work, like video and photo-based content, but you only really want to share the best of it. So it's like Shareworthy.
Exactly.
So I really love the name. So that's cool.
I think, and for people, a lot of people don't actually know how the name even came about, but like people think, they get it now because it's such a term that is used so common in today. But years and years ago, like I was hearing this term and my mum always used to say it to me. So yeah, thanks mum, I guess, for the idea of this. Yeah. And she would literally say to me all the time, you just need to put yourself out there and create content that's shareworthy. And I was sitting there, I was like, yeah, literally, I was like, what even is this word? Like, it's not even a thing. Like, it's just when content was starting to become like, oh my God, people are making a living with content. And then fast forward like 2 or 3 years and I finished uni, got a job and being like, hey, I want to take this shit seriously. Suddenly I was like, Shareworthy has to be the name of it. So
there wasn't a name before it. It was always Shareworthy.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
Cool.
I mean, I had little other businesses that I did throughout school. Like I had, I was really into like magic and photography. So I'd do like Ace High Entertainment, which is like the highest suit of cards you can get in like when playing poker.
I don't even know that. But okay.
Yeah, so that's
cool.
why I like called it that, and then it was all focused around like party and photo and magic, and I performed that mainly just a way to meet girls, to be honest. That was
nice!
That was
you slide dog.
Yeah. And then from there, I had a bunch of others like Studio J and all these things. But I thought the easiest thing, when I wanted to take it seriously, and I registered as a company and not like a sole trader because I wanted to have employees, was Shareworthy. So. God damn.
Sorry, I'm a little bit sick at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah. Haven't got that spicy cough.
No. Actually, I actually did a COVID test last. I actually legitimately thought it was COVID.
Oh shit! Really?
And I'm like, because I knew we were doing this today, so I'm like, I need to do a test.
It's because people say it's still going around, but I haven't heard that many people. But then I've heard other people saying that it's fucking going rampant. And it's weird.
I had it 3 months ago, so I thought surely I won't have it again that soon. And it was the second time I've had it, and it's similar to what I have now. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's that again. So
did you have bad symptoms or?
It's a lot of like just coughing and like stuff in the throat and stuff like that. But the first time I had it, man, it was legitimately the worst thing I've ever had.
Really?
I was awake.
I haven't had it.
You haven't had it? Oh, dude, I wouldn't recommend it.
No,
it's terrible.
I'll keep that one for noted.
Yeah, the first time I had it, it was I think I tested positive on the Saturday. Sorry, I keep doing this with my fucking hair.
Oh, good.
I got it on. I tested positive on the Saturday, and then I didn't go to sleep until like the Thursday night. So I was awake for nearly a week, and it was one of the worst things like I've ever felt. It was like because you're always like. You try and sleep, and then you get up at like 3 a.m. to go have a bath and then a shower, and dude, and like I was listening to a lot of like Snoop Dogg and stuff back then, and like legitimately, I was like
back then, bro. It was 2 years ago.
Like, oh no, 3 months ago, yeah. And like I legit like started hallucinating Snoop Dogg. I'm not even joking, not even joking, man. Like it's just like that's just what happens when you don't fucking sleep. So
wow.
But anyways, it's
actually I think that because I watched a thing with David Blaine, and he was saying the same thing when he was doing his magic things, and he didn't sleep for those big illusions and stuff and stunts basically that he does. That he would just be going insane in his own head.
Was that the ice one?
Yeah.
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 I remember I watched something about that the other day.
Yeah.
And he said, he asked what time it was, and the guy said like, or something.
Yeah.
And then he's like, okay, I'm going to wait a couple hours till I ask the time again. And then so on and so forth. He waited a while. He thought it was a couple hours, and he asked what time it is, and he goes.
Yeah. That's
So it was like a
crazy.
minute or two later, and he was like, oh, okay, this is
It
bad.
feels like hours. Yeah.
Yeah.
Far out.
Sorry, then the people watching the video version are going to get what I was doing there. Just hear me go silent. Or what the
Yeah,
fuck?
I just realized that too, actually.
Yeah.
I was like, whoops. But, oh, well, there you go. It gives you more of an excuse to be able to watch this on YouTube. But I wanted to dive in a little bit more because, obviously, you are primarily, I guess, in the real estate sector. So, like, what sort of drove you into that industry? Like, why are you why did you choose to go into that one?
So I started real estate videography back in 2018. I started playing with it. And the reason why was truthfully, like, I didn't see many people doing it. I think the only people who I saw that were very prominent was NGU Real Estate and their team that they had, which was Connor and Wells at the time.
Yes.
So I saw what they were doing, and I thought, oh, fuck, I really want to do this. And NGU actually had a job opening for it, and I hadn't shot a property in my life. The one thing I noticed was like you need to shoot it wide, and this is back when I had a Canon X810, so I didn't have a mirrorless, I didn't have a DSLR.
Right. Wow.
So I had like a really like 12-year-old, what do you call it, handy cam at this point, and I was like, I can't do this. So I filmed the apartment that I lived in with a GoPro. It was the fucking worst thing. I've still got it on file just so I can look back and be like, yeah, that's how far I've come.
That would have been before like stabilization. It probably would have been like that fisheye style.
Yeah. Oh,
no.
dude, it was terrible. Like, the stairs were curved like this. It was really bad. But I did that, and obviously I did not get the job. And Emil, I'm not surprised you didn't hire me. But I really wanted to push more into it. And I mentioned this on my podcast the other day, but I met a videographer named Jaden Hoskin, and he did freelancing, and I didn't really know what freelancing was at the time. Oh, sorry, videography freelancing. And I really like the idea of like, you know, not having a boss, kind of doing the work you love and like coming and doing a shoot. And yeah, I loved it. Yeah. So I thought if I can take that and real estate, put it together, you know, happy
100%.
days. So yeah, I just continued to do that for a few years, and it took me, I feel like, not to toot my own horn here, but like I felt like I got really good over maybe 6 months. So like when I first started filming real estate on like a gimbal and like a 1635,
You're like game changer, right? Come a
it was
long way since the GoPro.
Yeah. And I thought when I first did it, it was terrible. And then as the months went by, I was like, I figured out what agents liked and didn't like.
Yes.
So I thought, and I just, you know, you just follow the path of like doing what agents want you to do.
100%.
And the work's going to be great. So yeah, that's just how I got into real estate, really. So
I never looked back. So you, do you enjoy it or anything like that, or is it?
Yeah, no, you get to film some cool houses. There was, I've got to be careful with what I say here. There was like, you get a lot of great opportunities to film houses and like beautiful homes and stuff. But I was really close recently, and I'm not going to mention who it was, but I was so close to filming arguably the most expensive home in Queensland.
Oh, wow.
It's here in Brisbane. I'll tell you what house this is after this.
Yeah.
But I was like this close to filming it, and then something happened, and obviously, unfortunately, it didn't happen. But like, it would have been such a good piece for the show reel and sharing
100%.
online.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get a lot of great opportunities and work with some really cool people through doing it. So, and some people have become like really good friends of mine, like Jim from Ray White Western. Like him and I are really cool. Celine and Cara from Ray White Beanley. Just good people, good quality people. Yeah.
That's good. And I feel like that's such an important aspect that a lot of people don't realize is I find the relationships that you have are so important in terms of getting that work, having consistent work, things like that. And a lot of people don't, you know, they just want to shoot it and they'll have, like, say, a great product, but they forget all the, you know, at the end of the day, people do business with people. They don't do, like, you know, unless you're like Apple and you do business for the brand and the I guess the status that's associated with it. But 9 times out of 10, when it's small business stuff, people do business with people, right? Yeah. So I think relationships are such an important aspect of that, and being able to nurture those and that. And like you said, it's great that you're able to call them friends, and, you know, you're able to, it makes it also the experience just so much more fun. Oh,
100%. It's like, I'd rather work with people like that than people who, you know, aren't. let's say, easy to work with. So
exactly. And every industry's got it, right? They've always got like some people who think they're the top shit and other people who are going to be humble, and it's just the way the world is, right? But I think another thing as well is like even for our relationship and stuff that, you know, we've sort of like really gotten a lot closer this year in terms of, you know, we have similar interests and we get along really well because we're in the same industry and we have so much to talk about and we've got that in common, you know, and I just love how it's more of a friendship as opposed to necessarily, people see you as a competitor or competition. And that's what I really, really like. Yeah. You know, heck, you fucking came to the studio opening, you know, and everything like that. You know, you help with podcasts and we've been on each other's podcasts, and anything else you need, like, we're always there. And, you know, we go on cute little dates every now and then. You know?
And like you help me because I'm trying to get into like contract stuff for clients and stuff now. So I sent you a heap of stuff the other day to kind of like run by you. And you gave me some really good feedback, like some stuff that I didn't even think about. Like the quality, I'm going to do too. Like the quality thing that you said, I didn't even think about that. I'm like, oh yes, I need to put that in there. So
yeah, like I mean, like this is this thing. Like I've been burnt over it on the past, and if I can help a friend who's like, I don't want the same shit to happen to them with it, I'm like, fucking great. Like I'm all happy to help anyone. Like
and the reason why I'm doing it, so I'll just say what I'm doing. So I'm trying to get more like terms of services in place for my business. So it's like, because it's been so open ended. Like if a client wants like this additional work, which, you know, on paper it looks pretty easy, but it takes hours to do it, and like there's no additional cost to it. It's like, okay, I need to dial this in a bit and have a little bit more of a system in place.
100%. You want to cover your ass. It's to cover your ass, and it's I think it's definitely just honestly, like I think most people should have it these days, like at least a terms of service or a contract or something that is being signed. I don't care if they're your best friend. It's just call it a just in case. Yeah. And it's also to protect both parties. Oh yeah. So they know exactly the deliverables and the things that they're getting and what they're, I guess, what they can ask for out of this and expect, and
setting expectations as well. Exactly. That's the biggest thing for me.
That's the word I was trying to think of. I can get that.
Oh, like I like someone told me that. Someone I used to work with a few years ago said like, if you can set the expectations for what you're going to deliver, then you will be golden. Because if anything happens, it's like, well, this is what I told you was going to happen. And like I've carried that on like since I heard that, even though the terms weren't in place. Yeah. But like I always try and set the best expectations I can.
100%. And it's like, as much as like I would love to do handshake deals with everyone and be everyone's best friend and don't think anyone's ever going to fuck me over. It's just not the way the world is. So I think it's just good to have it in place, and that way everyone's safe. And
you'll find that in most industries, I think. Like anything, like any business industry, like unless things are written in paper, then you're probably going to run into a few issues. So
1,000%.
I don't know if we spoke about this on the first podcast we did, but like, how did you start doing the model work and like shooting beach stuff? I don't know what you want to call it.
Yeah, I guess I was very much the same, where I started in, I used to work for a home builder doing the marketing. And then through that, when I got the opportunity where I was like, I need to go run my own business, like as much as I love working here and it was one of the best jobs and I'm incredibly grateful, that boss, the owner of Homes with CMA, is still one of my closest friends. But he's like, you need to go do this like on your own. So
wait, he pushed you to do what on your own? Like,
yeah, he full on. Good on him. So he was, he's very entrepreneurial himself, and he won like Australian Young Entrepreneur like 4 years in a row. Wow. Yeah, and he was very much like, I can see like you're a switched on guy, you're clever. Like I'm always going to support you to go do this because I can tell that, you know, you've got more. So I was like, all right, that's all the seal of approval I needed. Yeah, so and then from there, I literally, you know, we resigned, and then I was like, fuck, I actually don't have any clients, and sort of put myself in a bit of a pickle. So I was like, all right, well, I need to get a job while I'm like setting all this up. So I ended up working for a commercial landscaping company. And I was there for like 6 months. And then in the background of that, I was setting up Shareworthy the entire time. Yeah. And I literally remember the day, which was in January last year, in 2022, the day I got 2 signed contracts, the same day I wrote my resignation letter into them, and I left. And I have never looked back since, and that was how Shareworthy became. But to speed up the natural progression of going from a builder and working in landscaping and, you know, having all these connections with those suppliers and builders and yada yada trades, was to do real estate. Yep. So did real estate, loved it, but didn't love it. Yeah. And then from there, I was like, I really love the people aspect and working with brands, businesses and individuals and all that sort of stuff. So then I started just naturally progressing that way more. Yeah. I'd get friends literally that who liked modeling or in the fitness space, just started photographing them, doing videos of them, and just sort of kept building up that way. And eventually, when my portfolio was able to take over from the real estate stuff and then transitioned more into sport, fitness, and small business and brands, was when, because I wanted to attract the things that I wanted, right? Like I wanted to do. So I wasn't going to post any real estate because that's the shit I didn't want to do.
Yep.
I was only going to post that. And once I did, it just naturally comes to you. It's really weird.
Did you film? I feel like we spoke about this before. Did you film what was it? There's a bodybuilding competition. I think it's on in September or November around that time.
Yeah.
Did you film that? Because I wasn't allowed to film that. And I saw you there, and I'm like, "How are you doing it?" And I wasn't allowed to do it.
No, so Brendan from Fit Focus Media, he does. I think it's ICN and IFBB, or I can't remember which one he does, but he does 2 of them, I believe. And he kills it at that game. Like I think he's got that contract signed, sealed, delivered. Good on him. But the way I ended up shooting backstage for IFBB, and then I'm actually going to Sydney in a week to shoot backstage for not a week, a month, sorry, to film for the Sydney WBFF.
Yeah.
Is I film for the athletes.
Okay.
So that's usually my in there where I'll film the backstage for the athletes. Samantha Wicks is what I'm doing.
Yep.
And yeah, we
Is she
have
competing?
Correct.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, so that, and it's awesome. It's a long day. It's a lot of tough work, you know, especially for someone who isn't competing. There's a lot of emotions. There's a lot of everything like that. And yeah, it's very full on.
I can imagine. I remember, because I followed the event throughout the day. How do you say it? Fit Focus Media?
Fit Focus Media, yeah.
I couldn't, good on them, but God, I couldn't believe they were editing content while they were filming throughout the day. Yeah. I'm like, that's the grind right there. Like that's crazy. I mean, good on them, but whoa.
I think with that, it's really important. Like they've got a great team. Like they had a team of 5 or 6 really good videographers there, and they just they're weapons, like you said.
Yeah.
You know, I was lucky enough last year to work at Turf Games. Have you heard of Turf Games?
Yeah.
It's like the next one down, I guess you could say, from CrossFit Games or the Down Under Games in terms of events. And the media team for there, I thought it was going to be a cruisy event to shoot. Fuck. Yeah. It was anything but, man. That media team push you so much where basically after every event has finished, you need to be having that content up online.
Shit.
Photo and video.
Yeah.
And we've literally got a team of, I think there was 6 of us, 3 photo, 3 video. And we would run around the entire village. They called it a village where it was swimming and running and all the fucking lifting events and courses. And you'd go grab all the people, then we'd all rush back, then we would edit it and then put it up. And then hopefully by the next heat started, we'd be ready to go.
Yeah.
And you just did that all day for 2 days straight. Just every hour you would have to be putting shit out. And if not, someone would be on you being like, okay, where's this content? We need to get it out now.
So they have a producer looking over your shoulder. Not looking over your shoulder, but making sure everything's all good.
Yeah. So they had a head of, I guess, content. And yeah, he would always be like, come on, let's go. We got to get this out.
So were you working under that production company's banner?
No, so I knew the owner of Turf Games. So in total. So there's they hold 6 events all around the world, and I knew the owner. And then through that, I was basically just abuse that relationship. And I was like, hey, I know you've got a media team. Can I come and help with the Australian one? And then from there, I've been booked in and we're doing the next one at the end of this year as well. But that's, insane. Very, very cool. And just watching those people, because these guys, the media team for those, they don't just do Turf Games. They do CrossFit. And, a lot of the Netflix documentaries they've shot of CrossFit games and stuff. Yeah.
I don't feel if there was something else you told me about Netflix.
Yeah.
That was pretty, I know you can't say it, but that was very interesting, that one thing you told me about.
Yeah.
And the fact that nobody knows about it as well, I thought that was really interesting.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. So very, very cool. That's essentially how I got into that. And I've just loved it ever since and just kept going. And ideally, I'd love to get a little bit bigger into it. I'd love to develop out a team. Yeah. We'll see where it goes though.
Yeah.
What's your plans with it all? Do you want to sort of stay as that small sort of one-man band, or do you want to grow it out? Or
I actually thought about this a lot over the weekend. Actually, I kind of have a bit of a structure in place to basically. I'd love for it to still just be me, But with the way I want to set things up, it's gonna need it's gonna require a team at some point. Maybe it won't. Maybe if I don't want to go to that point, I can just trim it back. But obviously, you just kind of want to build it bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Like the production company, I want it to be like just one thing that I do. Like obviously, you've got like the studio and the production company and other things you want to do. I'm the same. I want it. I don't want this to be the only thing I do. Obviously, I got the podcast. Sorry, that I want to turn it a lot more into a brand.
Yeah.
And like even with that like the name Zero Context, like I wanted to. I haven't said this at all, but like I want to have the podcast, a clothing line, and then I'd love to have, and this might tie back into the production company a little bit, but I would love to develop like short film style stuff under the Zero Context banner and call it like Zero Context Originals or something.
Clever.
And something else that I did think a lot over the weekend, this might go on for a little bit. But when I was younger, like I wanted to do filmmaking. I wanted to do directing. And I kind of feel like I've lost sight of that for the last maybe 5 or 6 years. Yeah. Because I went to film school, and it's funny because we went to the same film school together.
Yeah.
And I want to get back into it. And I was watching something over the weekend, and there was sorry, the story's going to fucking go all over the place.
That's all good.
There was a very old found footage film, and it actually predates the Blair Witch Project. Oh, and shit. It's a found footage film called The McPherson's Tape. And it's about a family that's having like a birthday dinner, and the power goes out, yada, 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 and there's a large light outside. And they go out and they see a UFO, and there's aliens walking around, and for the next 90 minutes you're kind of like just following this family trying to defend their house while aliens are trying to get outside. They shoot the alien at one point, and the film ends with them with the camera like sitting down, and the family's just having dinner, and in the corner you can just see 2 aliens walk into the house.
Very cool.
Very eerie.
Yeah.
And the guy who made that, the reason why he made that was he realized that he was creeping up to the age of 25, which by the way, I'm like 25 and a half now. And he realized that all the big... and a half. He realized that all the big directors had made their first film by the time they're 25. And I watched and I listened to that over the week, and I'm like, fuck, like, I'm no closer to being in the film industry than I was 5, 6, 7 years ago. And I'd love to try and push more into that direction. So like I got a bit of an idea of what I would like to do. Obviously, it would be a short film. Obviously, don't have the money to make a fully fledged full-length feature. Yeah. But I got an idea for a short film that I'd love to do. Again, and the reason why I'm talking about the alien thing is because it's an alien short film I'd love to make. But it's based on have you heard of Min Min lights? No. Min Min lights is in Australian law. Like, it's the Australian UFOs. And you'll find like in the outback, there are these mysterious lights that follow you as you're driving, and no one knows what they are. Like, it's a mystery that no one knows what they are. So people just assume they're UFOs. So I'd love to make a short film about that.
I feel like the mysterious, like, you know, take even like Jaws, for example. Yeah. Like that mysteriousness of like, you know, and I didn't realize until I watched the behind the scenes after, but originally the shark was meant to be featured so much more.
Yeah, didn't it keep breaking down or something?
But it kept breaking down. So they're like, fuck, how are we going to do this? And then Steven Spielberg, the director, ended up turning it into an advantage where he's like, okay, that's fine. We're only going to show the shark right at the very, very end. And from the get-go, it was so much more suspenseful. Yeah. Because you just had that on the edge. And I think like the same with UFOs and things like that, because it is so the mystery behind it and you don't exactly know what it is, but you can kind of, your imagination starts running wild. Yeah. That's what's cool about it. And, you know, I was even watching something with Quentin Tarantino. Yeah. And he was saying that a lot of his films in that he will, you know, leave it up to the audience to make their own suggestion of what happened. You know, he's not going to say what happened, but you can leave it up to
That's smart. I like that. That's something I like about it.
Because he said that then he could have 100 different people watch that film and each one is going to pick up slightly different things. Yeah. And he said, now 100 people have just watched that film, but it's 100 different ways.
Ah, that's cool.
And he's like, that's what I love about it. I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah, that's very, very cool. The reason why I want to do the aliens, and I want to make it, this is going to sound bad because like, aliens, like...
Did you get some anal probing or something when you were
definitely not, no. But like, there's so much stuff coming out about UFO. I don't know if you've been following, but like NASA and the US government are having meetings about you know, what are they're calling them UAPs.
Yes.
And they're like basically coming out and saying, we don't know what they are. They're real. We don't know what they are. And there's been a lot of government officials. Like there's a guy that came out the other day, and he was a whistleblower, and he said the government has UAP vehicles in their possession.
It would not surprise me. Like I think there is so much that we don't know about, and I think we're also very naive if you think to the fact that out of this huge planet that we're alone. Let's be real. Surely.
100%. And like, there's so many reportings about like how UFOs work. And I feel like the most common thing that people are realizing is like UFOs, like when you see them, well, the footage that's been captured, they go like this. They're so quick.
Yeah.
So I'd love to dive more into that. And like, I'll give you a bit of like a background of how I want it to be. It's like, cause so the film, I watched the film Signs. It was the first horror film I ever watched when I was younger, and it scared the shit out of me.
Oh, really?
But it's like the premise of like a farm where there's no one around, you're by yourself. And there are these crafts that land. Like I could go into so much detail, but like, that's what I would like to do. I'd love to get back into making short films and just trying to build from there,
which is awesome.
And I see what Michael and Danny Filippo from Raka Raka, like they're just about to come out with Talk to Me, their first feature film. And
hectic.
Like, and dude, like their video that they put out where it's like our film got bought, and he's having meetings with Jordan Peele. Steven Spielberg saw the film. Stephen King wants to see the film.
Wow.
They're in They actually got offered Scary Movie 6.
Oh,
did you see that?
No, really?
They got offered to make Scary Movie 6.
That'd be cool. That'd be funny. I reckon that'd do a good job.
It would be good, but like, I think they turned it down, which was great because you've got like this film Talk to Me, which is like a real like. Some people are saying it's one of the best horror films in the last recent few years.
Wow, I'm excited to see it.
Yeah, to do that and then to go do Scary Movie, it'd be a bit of not so much of a downgrade, but like stick to your roots. Like you guys are funny, but like you guys have just made something that's very unique.
100%.
And seeing what, seeing what they've done, it's like fuck, like they're in the industry now. It's like I want to keep following him with that. So that's just what I want to do. So sorry, that went on for a little bit longer than I should have.
But honestly, that is awesome, and I think that's important. Like I was very much the same where, we went to film school, and for me, I feel like that experience was great. If you want to do what you're doing and you want to go do short films and you want to be on those big fucking Netflix productions or whatever, that's amazing. For me, it was weird because like I didn't really find it as valuable because
no, I didn't either.
My intended time, the whole time I was wanting to go into like the commercial aspect of things. And it's funny because
when you say commercial aspect, like commercial TV
stuff. Like I always wanted to go into like brand videos, like videographer, I guess commercials and TV and that sort of thing. That's the way I wanted to go always.
Okay.
And it's funny, all of my projects resided around that style of thing, whereas everyone else's was like very like short film music video based.
Yeah.
Which is, it's just funny. Like, I just find it funny. That was the whole thing. And,
I got a friend who went to this, I'll just say it, went to SAE. He left after the first year and he said that SAE killed his passion for filmmaking. And I'm like, I can kind of see why. Because it's like, I don't know if I want to go into too much detail, but I can see why going to film school wouldn't be the greatest thing or why people wouldn't enjoy it. Because a lot of directors out there and a lot of producers and writers, they didn't go to film school. Like they kind of just learned themselves and like learned from being in the industry.
Exactly. I feel if I had to choose, I'd take experience over anything any day.
Yeah.
But in saying that as well, like I kind of get where he's coming from because with me now, like I have a camera all day, every day, like so do you. And it's really weird because like I remember when I was first starting out and I was so passionate about it and everything like that. And don't get me wrong, I still am. But even on the weekends when I had some time off, I'd always have my camera in my hand and go and take photos. Now, I can't remember the last time I just picked up my camera for fun to go and take some photos.
Yeah. As
sad as that is, because I do it every single day. And I'm still passionate about it. I still love what I do, but it's like...
What about the first time you get a drone? You're like, this is so exciting.
Exactly. And then now
if it's not for work, I don't touch it.
Literally,
so
yeah.
It sucks. It's really sad. It's like, like there was always like that passion of wanting to do it at the start. And I guess it's like, what is it? Like when your hobby becomes your job, gets a little bit like, oh, okay. Still enjoy it, but yeah, I don't know.
And it's weird. I think at the moment, like I'm very much the same where I absolutely love what I do, but I just want to have some backups because I'm nervous of like where things are going and things like that. And I think like, I just want to have multiple avenues in case any one of them fail.
Yeah.
But I've got the thing, hence why I've got the studio, then I've got Shareworthy, then, working on other things in the background and that. So if any one of those things fail, and then hopefully at the end I can get like a big income from all of them.
Yeah,
That's the goal. So that's essentially what I've been doing. But I think, I don't know where the future of photo and video lies. Like, are you seeing all this technology coming out? Are you seeing like all the AI and things like that? Like, where do you think, I guess, the future is for us, for this industry?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Truthfully, I don't know. I think like we look at Photoshop and how it's got the new generative AI, and then we were just talking before the podcast started about After Effects potentially getting that same feature. So I feel like photo will be the first thing to go. Like in terms of like things that can be automated, photos will be the first thing to go. Video, it's a bit difficult, especially when you're doing contract-based work, because a videographer is always going to have their own style of doing things.
Yes.
And to have like a computer do it, it's probably just not going to be the same. Like you sent me something the other day about how agents can film properties and they can send them off. And what's the turnaround time for that one again?
Yeah. So essentially, it's like 40 seconds or something ridiculous.
Oh shit!
It's
Fucking
quick.
Right. Okay.
But essentially, there's apps and stuff now that are getting where it will prompt the agent to get certain shots. So it will pop up with little cues on there with arrows. Hit record. Now walk forwards for 15 seconds, in this corner of the room. Now get a close-up of the whatever.
Yeah.
And then once they go through and do all those shots for the entire house, it then uploads, and then within, I think it's like 2 minutes or something. It's not 40 seconds, but...
That's still quick.
Still quick, yeah. Within 2 minutes, it's diced it up, put it all together, got royalty-free music, and it's ready there for the agent within the app, and they can download and put it on their realestate.com advert or whatever it is.
I'll say this though, and I'm not calling them out, but I saw Gavin Rubinstein on it.
Yes.
I don't think he's using. No way is he using that app. He's probably. I think he's got a retainer agreement with X Media.
I can send you who he uses for that. Yeah.
Oh wait, whoa! Am I completely wrong with this? Oh, okay.
So he uses X Media for his personal branding stuff, but for his house stuff, TRG.
Yeah, the
as
Gavin,
a total.
Yeah.
Wait,
is that it?
TRG or the Gavin
Riverside
group.
Yeah.
Have a retainer with another company that does all the photo and video work for all of their houses, and it's an agreement. Yeah. But I'll send you because
but they're not using this platform that makes it with a fucking phone.
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's what I thought the other day.
He used it that once. Like, do you really think as well? Like Gavin Riverside, he did a fucking Bonds commercial. Do you think he's really wearing? He's probably wearing Calvin Klein's or some expensive ass shit. Like, let's be real. But it's like it's got his name on it. So I guess as he's like
maybe he's got a partnership in it.
Surely he's got. Or like how smart would it be of like. He's suddenly invested a shit ton of money in bonds,
Yeah, actually, no. Now that you say it, it does make sense because X Media is based in Brisbane. I don't know if they've got any other locations, but like to fly down for every fucking property that Gavin does, that doesn't make any sense.
I think they've just opened up Sydney this year.
Oh wow, good on them.
I think they're starting to branch out, but like they get like that's what I mean. Like they're getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Like which is great, and I think Gavin has a big role to sort of play in that as well with his platform and that, but I always remember that the company that does all of the TRG stuff, I would always look at their property videos before I go and shout mine, and I'd try and integrate it and
inspiration.
Copy it. Yeah. I'd be like, oh, that's a great shot. Like, I wonder if I can do a shot like that with my property. And
I started to do that recently as well because I feel like I've been a little bit same for a while. I'm like, let's spice it up. Let's add some stylized transitions. Let's put a little spice on it.
100%.
And the feedback's been great. Like I've had clients call me and say, why haven't you been doing this? I'm like, because I didn't know how to do it.
Yeah. You're like, I just found this on TikTok
20 minutes ago. Yeah. Like that's something that I've decided to do a lot more. But to like get back to like the AI thing. Yeah, I don't know.
I think it's go two ways. Either we're gonna embrace it and you use it to your advantage, or it eventually is just gonna be able to be like taken over and we're going to be like basically out of a job.
Yeah, that's why it's good to have some things set up as well.
In terms of editing, that is, I think for the most part, you'll still need someone to take the photo or take the video. But it's also like with the rapid rate of how technology is getting, like iPhones, how good they'll get within, let's say, even 3 years, that the quality of the footage in them is going to be so good that anyone can then basically pick up their iPhone. Even now, it's getting good. Like,
I think
still not like quality of like our cameras, but
it's
yet.
Yeah, but again, like agents, not saying agents can't do videography. Anyone can do videography if you learn how to do it. But agents can't do it on their own, and that's why I feel like at least real estate, we're fine. I'm not stressing.
I agree.
The thing I am stressing about is, I don't know if you want to talk about it, is like just the number of people who are doing it is getting a little bit competitive.
Dude, the industry is getting so saturated.
Yeah,
I literally go on so many meetings now, and they're like sitting, we've had meetings with such and such and such and such and such and such, and you're like, fuck, like 3 years ago, those people didn't exist. Like, you know,
6 months ago, those people didn't exist.
Yeah, exactly. And suddenly now you get all these people who will make those partnerships with, you know, whether it's real estate agents or whoever, and get a large financial backing. Suddenly they've purchased all like a whole team. They've got a red camera and they're all ready to go, and they're shooting this amazing content. And you're like, how the fuck do you compete with that?
And we have seen pricing of other people's stuff. I'm noticing that people who have these big production houses are charging
Absorbent amounts.
How you say it?
Absorbent. I think that was it. I don't know. I don't even know if I said it.
A big amount. But it's not because they're getting more, like, better work. It's just so they can pay salaries. And that's the biggest thing that I'm noticing. And not saying anyone's names, but we've seen some people in the industry who've charged a significant amount. And it's not too hard to look at their work and be like, okay, that's a lot of money for what they're delivering. As opposed to working, let's say like you and I, where it's like, you know, we're going to charge a realistic amount. Like if you want that, this is how much it's really going to cost. I don't need to worry about paying little Jimmy to his salary for the week. Like I don't need to worry about that.
Exactly.
That's what I'm noticing. But on the flip side of that, there's some really great videographers out there. What's his name? Cal J Visuals.
Oh, Cal's great. Yeah,
he's fucking killing it, dude. Like his style of stuff and his hype videos, they're wicked. They're really, really good.
I agree. Like Cal is, you know, and like I comment a lot on a lot of his stuff, and I'm yet to meet him in person. I'd actually love to get him on. That'd be cool.
I met him once at a property auction. But then I followed him from there, and I just see him like doing all this stuff. Like he's doing really, really well. Yeah,
seems like just a cool dude as well. But yeah, same thing. Like I think if you've got your own little niche, like you're sweet. But I think the attraction is like when these companies go, they pitch the team. You're gonna have a team of people working on this, as opposed to, and I think that's what gets people over the line. When you've got 3 videographers and you can go in and out of the house within an hour, you've shot the agent, you've done drone, you've done all your close-ups, your B-roll, and you've had a whole team do it, they're like, fuck, this is going to be good. But then I think it's like placebo, because it's like, we might take an hour and a half, doesn't mean we're not going to do the same, if not a good, if not better job. It's just a placebo of seeing a team. I don't know why. It's like when people say, rig your camera out because it's going to look more professional to the fucking, even though it's still a DSLR at the end of the day or a mirrorless, you've just
got a cage, you've got a monitor, you've got
put a matte box on it. Like,
and then it's like normal work.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't want to shit on anyone, but like that's another thing that I'm noticing is, it's just everyone at this, like at the end of the day, like what are you shooting? Is that an A7 IV?
Yeah.
Like, dude, that can shoot the same thing as someone else who has a massive decked out,
100%.
rig. And it's this. It just comes down to the person at the end of the day who's filming, editing. It's going to make it unique. And
I agree. And it's just that, like you said, that style. So I think more importantly, I would just encourage you, man, like if that's the route you want to take and you want to go into that short film thing, like seriously, like plan it out and then like fucking do it. Yeah. Because I was very much the same thing of like in the studio of like, am I ever going to do the studio? And then you just have to make that executive decision of like, just do it. Yeah. And it's never going to be the perfect time. It's never going to be the right time. Like, but then you'll be surprised how far that will take you. Imagine you enter that into like West End Film Festival, and then from there you can enter it into this and this.
I actually didn't even think about. I legitimately didn't even think about entering into like festival. I was just like, I just want to make something.
It's getting like bigger and bigger, and then before you know it, if you win a couple of those, you can even pay off the entire film. Yeah. Like let's say it costs you $5,000 to do your film, you can pay that off with a couple of winnings if you win. Yeah. You know, or whatever it may be. If you get sponsors for it or some shit, I don't know. Like. Yeah. I've seen really clever ones where like they'll feature like, like like, you know, the cliche stuff of like they'll feature a phone or a laptop that's like Dell or something,
Yeah.
and then Dell's sponsored or VW have sponsored the cars or some shit,
Yeah.
you know, like, you know, if we got creative on that level.
Yeah. The one thing, we'll run it back to film school. The one thing that really bummed me about film school was I never got the opportunity to direct. And like, I'm not going to say the price, but SAE is not cheap. And it's really quite disappointing that like I've got to pay that much and I never got the chance to do the thing that I want to do in the industry.
Yeah.
And it's also disappointing, especially with our graduation films, where we had people in positions that they didn't want to be in. Like we had directors who didn't want to direct. We had
That's
writers.
so weird, yeah.
Like, dude, I was producer for my my graduation film. And I'm like, I'm not a producer. I want to direct.
Yeah.
And it's severely disappointing that I was not given that opportunity. And I run a lot of scenarios in my head, and like I'm pretty big on manifestation and stuff. And like, let's say hypothetically, God forbid, in 10, 15 years time, it's like, you know, make a film, you win an Oscar, a massive award, and like the SAE catches wind of it.
Yeah.
Oh, look at our graduating student, semiconductor law in Wilming. He studied at SAE.
Yeah.
Oh, he's won all these awards. You guys didn't do shit.
Yeah,
like,
literally.
Like that's just what I wanted to get to. Like I learned more just self-taught for like, you know, 10 years prior to going to film school.
Yeah.
Than actually at film school. Like I remember the first few months of being at film school, like I knew everything. And I'm not saying this to toot my own horn, but like I already taught myself how to do this.
Yeah. Yeah.
In the second year,
100%
was a
agree.
bit different.
Like I'm totally on the same page. And the worst part as well is I also went because of the networking opportunity. We're going to meet so many cool people. And like me personally, like I had lovely people, but like have never kept in contact with them to this day, very rarely. And they just weren't my cup of tea. I just didn't gel with them, which is totally cool. They wanted to go off and do different things, like I said. But yeah, it was also kind of like a waste of time on that front end for me as well.
Because you did the 2 years, you finished?
Yeah, I finished and graduated, but yeah. I didn't even go to graduation. To be fair, graduation was like right when like COVID hit, and they like strongly advised everyone not to go to graduation. They're like, we're having graduation, but
don't come.
Yeah, don't come because like COVID. And I'm like, fucking what?
Yeah, wow.
So I just got it sent in the mail, and and then I don't know, celebrated with my parents, went out to dinner.
Yeah, that's nice though.
But
yeah, I just need to clarify as well, just because I don't want to just say what I just said and just leave it.
Yeah.
I have nothing against the lecturers. I have nothing against anyone who I went to uni with. But I really don't think I don't think film school, I don't think you need to go to film school. Looking back at film school now and knowing what I know, I wouldn't have gone. And it's disappointing because I did make a lot of really great connections, and I'm still friends with a lot of people who I went to uni with. But again, like I don't think I needed to do it.
Yeah. I think yeah, I agree. I think, how can I put I'm just trying to word it in like a nice way, you know what I mean?
About film school.
Yeah. It just wasn't for me. And I think a lot of the things that you want to know are available online, whether that's, you know, on YouTube or there's loads of courses and stuff available now. I think, you know, it's a lot of money, and like I'm still paying that debt off today.
Yeah.
Like for something that I can't necessarily find that value in. Like I've spent more money on courses for things online that are a couple of $1,000s, and I've got more value out of it, and it's paid itself off.
Yeah.
Than I have for fucking a fucking $70,000-$80,000 degree.
Well,
whatever it is.
Well, when it comes to like the film school, when it comes to the short film stuff I want to do, I'm actually wanting to look into the masterclass courses, like the actual company masterclass and what they've done, because I think they've gotten Martin Scorsese as a writer.
Martin Scorsese, Martin Scorsese, I think, is directing, but they got loads of actors, directors, producers.
I want to get some of those courses.
Yeah,
just because again, I haven't really thought about filmmaking for the last few years, and I kind of just want to refresh my head a bit.
If you want, I'll give you my login. You can have it.
Do you have a subscription?
Yeah.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
Please.
Yeah, 100%.
Okay, sweet. Yeah, I love that. Thank you. It's just to brush my knowledge on it, and even pick up some new tips as well.
Yeah.
Because I kind of want to do it properly. And again, I don't want to shit on film school. But again, I'll be nice. It's not for me. I'm just disappointed that I wasn't able to do what I want to do in the
Yeah.
industry.
Which is also like, that makes no sense. Like, if you want to be a director and someone else is directing, like, what? It just
I
doesn't.
don't know. I'd love if, God forbid, a lecturer watches this. I just want it to explain the logic behind that. It doesn't make sense. Like, why would you push someone to do something that they don't want to do? Mind you, let's say there's only 6 films that are being made and 12 people want to do directing.
Yeah.
I get that.
Same.
But
I also find out the shoes on the other foot where, like, I used to not enjoy the editing side of it.
Yeah.
And so, like, anytime someone's like, I'll be the editor, I'll be like, thank fuck.
Yeah.
Like, thank God. I mean, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you be the editor. I think you're a really great editor. Like,
Yeah.
Well, I think, I think let's end on, like, a fun or a good note or a good laugh or some shit.
What's been the biggest thing that you've learned from doing videography since you started?
Biggest thing. I think I already covered it. I think, I underestimated the importance of the relationship side of things. Like, for me, I'm, like, huge into, like, networking, whether it's with creatives or like-minded individuals, whether it's with business owners. Even if they're in a completely polar industry to, like, what I want to do, I just like hearing about how people became successful and, like, how they did it, and just, I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
I just enjoy that. And it just seems to be a big thing that I try and now put into all my work. But what about you?
I think just running a business kind of comes with a lot of things. And coming from someone who's never run a business in their life, I think everything that just comes with that has been the biggest learning curve.
I think people underestimate, dude. Like, it's fucking hard.
Yeah.
It's so fucking hard.
Yeah. Because you're wearing so many hats as well. Like you know, accounts, videographer, editor, salesman, there's so many things that come with it.
Literally.
And each one of those things comes with its own
stuff and its
things
own
that you need to
admin
learn.
and its own everything. Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like that's been the biggest thing. I think that's it. Yeah.
So if someone came to you today and, like, offered you, like, a big salary, like, let's say, like, well into the 6 figures, and they said, like what would be your, like, dream job? Like, would it be like a fucking producer for, like, Amazon Prime? Like, what would get you to be like, I think I'm going to fold in the talent coaster. I'm going to go do this because this is, like, way better opportunity. It's what I'm going to do. Yes, I'm sacrificing myself to someone's company, but like, what would it?
I actually think about this a lot. I don't know. I really don't know, because you're basically giving up the freedom to do your own projects.
Yes.
And the price the price to have to go and do that, to give that up, it would have to be pretty high. But I really don't know. I genuinely, like, the mindset that I'm in now, it'd probably be directing and doing something for a studio.
Yeah.
That's what I would give it up for. Because I see a lot of people who are, like, travel videographers.
Yeah.
That's cool. I like that. Like, you see, videographers that follow UFC fighters, artists, like David, the German videographer who works with Mike Balak and Logan Paul.
Yes.
Like, that's really cool. And, like, not a lot of people have that opportunity to go and do that.
Yeah.
But even then, I feel like, I don't know if let's say, like, David's under, like, a salary under Logan and Mike, but, like, or if he's just contract based. But that's pretty cool as well. But yeah, I think just directing at this point.
I think you got to weigh it up, because I feel like with David and stuff as well, he'd be on, like, a salary. It wouldn't be a great salary, but it would be a salary. But then,
why do you say, just out of curiosity, why do you say that? Like, why do you think that he wouldn't be on a great salary?
Because, like, I think from what they have said, like, it's like, let's say, like, a 50K US salary, but then keep in mind, all of his expenses are paid for. He gets to travel around the world with them as well. He gets all these incredible experiences, gets to have all of these experiences that literally 1% of the world get to have or be a part of, even though he's behind the camera. And I feel, I don't know, that's just.
I do see where you're coming from.
You know what I mean?
Say that,
like, at the end of the day, I think they still treat him as an employee as opposed to,
the reason why, like, not to challenge you,
No,
but yeah, because like you see how much money these guys are making.
Mm.
Logan obviously more than Mike.
Yeah.
But you'd think they would have enough to cover like a nice hefty salary. So I could be wrong. Maybe he's making bank. But that is a good point. Like when you have when you have a job where literally every expense is paid, like travel, food, probably hotels.
Yeah.
There'd probably be a bit of give and take from that. So
yeah, but it's like, there's people that would fucking throw themselves that opportunity, right? They're like, hey, we're gonna pay you like this little amount, but then we're going to cover all your expenses. You're going to get to travel the world. You get to be with some of the most famous influencers on the planet. Like, I mean, shut up and take my money to a lot of people. For me, that's not my cup of tea. But hey, I know a lot of people would love that shit.
Yeah. There is, I won't say what it is, but there is something coming up in September and October this year, which involves me traveling to Sydney. Sorry, might be a bit of a giveaway. Doing videography and photography for someone that is going to be a part of an event, and it's an opportunity where it's like, I have a feeling they're going to cover the expenses, but I'm not charging for it because I'm like, this is an opportunity that could lead to like really, really big things, and I don't want to jeopardize that by saying, hey, here's an invoice, you know?
Yeah.
But I rarely do that. I do not do that for like, this is like a not once in a lifetime, but like once in a blue moon opportunity that I'm going to do. So so I do see like the give and take situation in there. So
that's good. And I think like, and I think you just got to gauge it with the client, right? Like I think, like you said, if it's going to lead to bigger opportunities and then you've got to fork out a little bit of money, but you're like hoping like you're going to get that in return from a longer relationship, like longer term relationship. Great. Yeah. That's awesome. But there's some people that will also like take full advantage of that as well. So just be mindful.
Yeah. And again, like we were saying before, a big thing that I've said to myself and I tell a lot of people is like, start to tell yourself like, I'll believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people will give you, they'll what's the saying? They'll promise you the world and then they don't deliver on it. And I've unfortunately been burnt by that a couple of times. So it's just managing my own expectations as well.
Yeah.
So
because it's like Sydney's not the next thing, but they're like, 2 months after this, we're going to Vegas. Like, literally. Fuck. Literally. There you go. There's another $2,000 flight. Then you got fucking this and this. And you're like, and it adds up real quick. It's like, oh yeah, my invoice is going to be like 3 times the amount this month.
Yeah. Those like traveling gigs are fun.
For sure. Yeah.
Like in Sydney, when you go down for the fitness stuff, like that's going to be pretty cool to at least get out of Brisbane and do something a little bit different.
It is. I just wish it was more consistent and like on a bigger thing. Like I'd love to rock up and like have a team of like 5 to 10 plus people. Yeah. That'd be fucking sick, and just do like something really cool, like a commercial thing. And you fly down there, it's like a special occasion, you're excited about it. Yeah. You film for 3 days or whatever, and then you come home and you're like, that was fucking cool. Yeah. Now you just got to sit in an editing bay and go through it all, but that's the shit I want to do, you know? Yeah.
I think that was one of the things I wanted to do when I first started doing videography was like I wanted to travel. Actually, it is what I wanted to do. It was I wanted to work and I wanted to travel. So it's like now that like these opportunities might be coming, it's like happy days. It's kind of like what I wanted to do. So
that's good. And now like get shit tons of behind the scenes, like post about it all the time. Get that seen on your brand, because then people are going to be like, oh shit, he does this. Like yeah, it's really weird. Like we think people, and I think a lot of people assume, but it's like until you start posting that stuff, like no one has any idea. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I'm really excited because I feel like, you can do so much with that content too.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree.
But anyway, man, is there anything else you wanted to add before we sign this off?
Really. Thanks for having me on again.
Yeah, pleasure.
No, this is cool. I'm keen to see what you do with the podcast and like the other guests that you've mentioned before. It's going to be cool to see what comes with it.
Yeah, I think like, hopefully people get a little bit of insight and enjoy it, and a little bit of laughter and banter along the way. So yeah. But anyway, thank you so much for coming. There you have it, our first episode of Big Business Energy. Thanks, Sam.
Sweet, appreciate it. Thank you.
I think the one thing is... Oh, fuck. One more thing. One more thing. Where can people find you if they want to see you or your business?
So it's just at Lacosta Studios on Instagram and Facebook. And that's it. Cool. Literally just that.
You can't tell I'm new to this, can you?
Oh, yeah. That's okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Watch me now. Watch me now.